Let me fill you in real quick. Here's what I'm trying to do. Okay, the plan is, because my key, let's see if I can find it, show you. Okay, my key broke off in the ignition right here. And, you know, it's sad because I've had this car for so many years, and it's been such a great car that, like, it sucks so bad. But what I ended up doing was, because it was in a parking lot that I had to get it out of, and the alarm kept going off. And if any of you guys have these old Toyotas, the alarm is insane. So what I done was I pulled this panel off temporarily so I could pull the old switch mechanism out of there and just used it like that. Like I've been, you know, having the switch attached to this harness right here and just starting it with a screwdriver and shutting it off. But that's been getting sketchy because the steering wheel still kind of catches and locks from time to time. It's not right now. It only does it when you're pulling out into a sticky situation. Then it wants to lock and send you straight towards a Mercedes-Benz. Anyway, what I want to do in this video, what I want to accomplish is finding a new way. I'm not going to put ignition in this. That'd be boring. And whatever. So what I'm going to do, to be safe, I'm going to pull the column apart and take the locking mechanism out so that the column will no longer lock at all. And then the plan is to find another one of these switches that's not used often. There's a victim right there. Like this hazard switch, let's be honest guys, Toyota, it's never going to break down and need the hazard lights. So I'm going to modify this to be the switch that turns the car on. So then, you know, that would be, you know, your ignition's on. And then I need to find another switch somewhere. I thought about using this one, but I really do the overdrive from time to time. But I need to find another switch that'll start it. Perhaps one of these window switches, because I could always use a rear window switch. And then if I wanted to roll the window down in the back, there's a switch on the door right there. But I just think it'd be something fun to do. I don't think I've seen it done on the internet. And what better, you know, thing to do than to be the first one to do something. So my panel, as you see, I have access to these switches. I'll tell you what, where the hazard or turn signals, I don't know if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. Okay, so there is 9 pins on this hazard light switch. Because where it uses turn signals, you know, right, left, or all separate circuits. If not, you might have one ball pin all 4 like that. So, yeah. So we're not going to use that. However, this defrost switch looks like it only has about 4 pins. And defrost draws some amps, so I'd say we could use that. Okay. What I done was I unhooked the ignition switch out of it, and like I said before, I had it out of the dash and started it with a screwdriver. That was with this. This does everything your ignition does. If you turn it once, then your accessories and all that stuff's on. Then you turn it a second time, then everything's on, the ignition and the fuel pump's armed, and then it goes one more little spring-loaded turn, and that's to start the car, obviously. So the best thing for me to do at this point is I have an ohms meter here, and all I'm going to do is these contacts where it plugs into the actual ignition system of the car. I'm just going to use the ohms that makes the, you know, the beep noise when you have resistance, and I'm just going to find out at what point is the first click, which 2 of these contacts does that provide power to and complete the circuit. You know, the second click, which one, and then the third spring load, so that I know which lines I need to run to use my switches to start the car with an alternate switch. I'll be right back. All I'm doing is I took this pattern right here which is all the electrode contacts in there, which, if you ask me, look good for a 97 model. But anyway, these copper contacts, I just made a pattern myself on this old water pump box, and you know, I mapped out all the connectors. What I did was, the first time I turned it, I got resistance between this pin and this pin, which is this one and this one. So I marked those two and labeled them as accessory. So, you know, from there on, I think you get it. So then what I'm going to do is, whatever switch I want to turn my accessory on, I got to tie it to this contact, and then, you know, run that switch to it. So then that'll turn it on, and then so on and so forth. Whatever. I think the next one, I just tried it, turns these two on. These two are the ignition. And then I'm assuming that the only thing left would be these out here, which are these two lone diodes out here, or contacts I mean, that would be to actually crank it over. Which, just a little bit more information on that, not to get too technical into electrician and whatnot, but the two that do crank it over, there's quite a bit of amps you're drawing there. So I wouldn't use like the smallest switch you can find on the car. I would use something that's kind of a heavy duty switch, like a window switch, because okay, so little change of plans. Not really. I mean, switch wise, like I did end up using this defrost switch for accessory, I believe it was, and then this hold on, that lighting's shitty. That switch right there, that I guess just gives access to the rest of the windows, because that's not as important either. I mean, you know, switches that I'm not going to be really using a lot is the plan here. But that is for ignition, I believe. That turns the ignition on. But then I found the switch that I definitely want to use for the starter, or at least I'm going to try anyway, is this right here. It is the sunroof switch. Right here. It actually, this sunroof leaked like 2 years ago, and I just caulked it shut, and just, you know, that seemed logical. But if you think about it, this little 12-volt motor right here, in the sunroof or whatever, like, it draws a hell of a lot of current, especially this sunroof in particular, because it hadn't been greased or used in years, so like you could hear the strain in it, and like the headlights would dim down when I used to use it or whatever, and it was so hard to get it to shut. So I do know for a fact that this switch will hold, you know, a little bit of amperage. So we're using this switch, and that means I had to take yet another panel off to get to the wires that run down this right here. So but it's convenient though, because this sunroof was an add-on. So you see this red wire just sticking out here, that's actually the sunroof wire, and they just kind of taped it whatever to the rest of the harness. Then they spliced it right in here to the ignition thing, actually, so that when the key was on, the sunroof would work. But I want to do rid of that, which is cool because I wanted to clean some of that up. But yeah, plan still remains, even though it's a little wrecked. Moment of truth. Oh, shit. I got everything hooked up to where I think it'll work. I'm very scared. I mean, I'm pretty confident, but at the same time, like, you know, when you go to hooking things up, there's always that chance of it, like, shorting out and then burning everything up. But anyway, I have to run jumper cables from the Chrysler up into it. I'm gonna start this up so I don't kill this battery too. Been there and did that. But anyway, I'm about ready to try this out, guys. And I don't know, some people say it can't be done. Some people are like, no, that ain't gonna work, or whatever. I need to pull this car up a little bit. But listen, can't put nothing past me. If it's possible, I can do it. The only thing that was confusing was some of the switches that I was trying to use involved grounds, you know, so throughout testing, you know, I realized that. And, you know, I was like, well, I can't use this switch or that switch because it's, you know, at the moment that it's making connection, it's also making a ground. Anyway, I don't want to yap. I just, if this thing cranks over, guys, let me see if it throws a big spark. It shouldn't, because I think everything's off. Pretty sure. Okay. So, maybe throw a little spark due to the dome light. Okay, that's a very good sign. No spark at all. Alright. Alright. This here is accessory. Or I'm sorry. This would be accessory. And that. Oh, God. accessory. That's the rest of it. Oh. Okay, I'm back. Listen. It's been a lot to do this, okay? But of course the car's not gonna start when it's in drive. So the safety neutral switch does work. I mean, I can figure out a pile of shit like that, but I can't figure out a safety neutral switch. Okay. Round 3. It's in neutral. All right, you ready? Accessory. Power.
That's all there is to it.
Ready?
That's all there is to it. A winner.
Accessory. Power.
Bam. Just like that. That's all there is to it, Dustin. That's all there.
Hold on, in case you guys don't believe it. Woo! Oh, that's sweet. Well, guys, looks like I just got to put this panel back together. This panel. I meant these panels. Almost every single panel that's out of my car is all on top of my car. So it seems to be running just fine. You would know if you had these wires wrong, because one of them would be extremely hot. And it didn't seem like it pulled a lot of current. I'm gonna go ahead and get my tester right there, check and see if it's pulling, you know, any amps or anything bad. Let's see if the windows work. Heck yeah, man. We're in there, guys. Alright, signing out. I will put the panels back together and then we'll do a final start on it. Sounds like I've lost some enthusiasm about it. That's because I have. It's been a lot more work than what I thought, and it's still in many pieces. But today's the day, guys. Today is the day. We tested everything last night. As you've seen just a minute ago in the video, it did work. I got a little tripped up by that little guy, but it did work. So now we're just going to reassemble it, which is great. This is going to be the fun part. Just put it back together and be done with it. Stay tuned though, because it's going to be great once it's all put back together. Some people may not agree, but I seen this as a good opportunity. I had to tore apart anyway. We had to pull the carpet out. I don't have the money to buy new carpet, but just hit it with purple power and take it to the local car wash and hit it with the power sprayer. Should bring it right out. These are for floor mats, but hopefully it'll get all this grime out of this. Talk about budget way to clean your carpet. I'm just going to hit it with the purple power, which is a favorite of mine. but I did mix a few other things with it. Put it on stream and then just get as much as we can on all the like little dark spots. And if it works, I'll show you. If not, I'll probably lie about it, put brand new carpet on here and say it worked.